Gretel. Written by Grimm Brothers. In a forest dwelt a woodcutter. He had 2 children. The boy was called Hansel, and the girl was called Gretel. The woodcutter had little to eat for his family. When great dearth fell on the land, Hansel and Gretel were living with their stepmother. One night, the stepmother said to her husband,
"We have to be rid of the children since we don't have enough food."
"No, wife. How can I bear to leave my children alone in the forest?"
"Oh, you fool! Then we must all 4 die of hunger."
The stepmother wouldn't back off. "Oh, okay then, I get it. I have no choice." Not having been able to sleep for hunger, the 2 children had heard what their stepmother had said to their father.
"Now all is over with us. I am scared."
"Do you worry? I've got an idea to help us." Hansel went out and picked the white pebbles which glittered in the moonlight. "Don't worry, dear little sister." The next day, the stepmother gave Hansel and Gretel a little piece of bread and said,
"Get up! We are going into the forest to fetch wood."
Then they all set together on the way to the forest. On the way to the forest, Hansel had been throwing one of the white pebble stones out of his pocket on the road. When they had reached the middle of the forest, the father lighted a fire.
"Now, children, lay yourselves down by the fire and rest. We will go and cut some wood."
As they had been sitting by the fire, they fell fast asleep. When at last they awoke, it was already dark night.
What should we do? I'm scared.
"Don't worry, just wait a little until the moon rises." When the full moon had risen, Hansel and Gretel found the pebbles that had been thrown. Following the pebbles that shone in the moonlight, by break of day, they came to their father's house. "Father, we're back!"
How were they able to find their way back home from the forest? What went wrong?
1 year had passed. There was once more great dearth throughout the land.
We have no choice again. The children must go.
"Oh, as you wish." This time, Hansel and Gretel overheard their mother again. Hansel again got up and wanted to go out and pick up pebbles, but the woman had locked the door.
What should we do this time?
"Don't worry, I'll figure it out." The next day, the mother gave Hansel and Gretel a little piece of bread.
We have to go and fetch some wood. Let's go.
The woman and the woodcutter led the children deeper into the forest, where they had never in their lives been before. Hansel crumbled his bread and threw a morsel on the ground.
We are going to cut wood. Just sit there by the fire, you children.
Night came, but no one came to the poor children. "When the moon rose, the crumbs will show us our way home." When the moon came, they found no crumbs, for the birds, which in the woods, picked them all up.
I'm scared.
"Don't worry, I'll keep you safe." But Hansel and Gretel got lost in the forest. The next evening, they saw a beautiful snow-white bird in the forest. The white took them to a beautiful house.
Wow! Look at this! It's built of candy. There are sugar and chocolate too.
Hansel and Gretel were so hungry that they began to eat the candy, chocolate, and cookies. Then, an old blind woman came through the door.
Oh, you dear children. Do come in. There is lots of food.
Thank you. After eating lots of delicious food in the house, Hansel and Gretel fell deep into sleep.
They smell good and look delicious.
The old woman was a wicked witch. She couldn't see far, but had a keen scent and was aware of human beings. The witch built the little house of bread in order to entice children to eat them. The witch carried Hansel asleep to a cage. The next day, she screamed at Gretel.
Get up, lazy thing! Cook something good for your brother. He is to be made fat, and I will eat him.
Gretel was forced to cook for her brother.
Stretch out your hand to feel how fatter you are. What? After feeding you so much, it's still a little bone.
Instead of his hand, Hansel stretched out a little bone that was left. The witch, who had dim eyes, thought it was Hansel's hand.
Ugh, I can't wait anymore. Tomorrow I will kill and cook you.
The witch was tired of waiting. The next day, the witch called in Gretel.
Now it's time to cook. Go into the oven to see if it is properly heated. How do I get in there? Oh, fool! Creep in and get in there like this! Yeah! Oh!
The moment the witch crept up, Gretel thrust her into the oven and shut the iron door.
Hansel, get out!
The witch was burnt to death in the oven. You did a good job! How they did rejoice with each other. Now, let's get out of here. We'll find the way back home now. Hansel and Gretel took some pearls, jewels, and food and left the witch's house. Then they made their way to their home. In the meantime, the stepmother ran away. The father had been regretting leaving the children in the forest. Oh, it was my fault. I shouldn't have left you there.
Father!
Oh, Hansel, Gretel, you are back. Hansel and Gretel lived happily ever after with their father, with the pearls and jewels that they had brought home.